Hey guys, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In this video I'll be doing the Carlton vs Essendon game review, going through who went well, who didn't go so well in a very bad fantasy game, I should say. Out of all the teams to go and perform like this, well, fantasy wise I wouldn't expect Carlton. And then there was only one ton scorer and one ton scorer and like 6 over 90 or something. And then they were all a lot of 80s and 70 scorers. So before we get into the video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload, and let's get into the video. So as you can see here, Doherty 95 wasn't a good game for him, to be honest, and he was looking like one of the best for Carlton. Then you have Sam Walsh, who is going to draw up dramatically in price, and I think we can wait a while for him as he's going to go down 60 here. And Walsh, if we look at him, I know that it takes the 55 off, but we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got a 109 coming off him here, and then a 1, 2, 3. I think he's going to hold a 130 or so break even for the next couple of weeks, to be honest. And you could see him drop 60 off here, so he's probably going to drop to 850. You could see him drop towards that 820 range, and then you can pick him up post buy, and then just hope he goes on a spurt. Then you got Shearer, Curnow, Kennedy. Kennedy wasn't really a good buy, was it, in the end, to be honest? He stuck around that 620k. Akers, Wiedering, Shearer we need to talk about. I guess he was better in terms of fantasy in the first half, obviously, but he just turns the ball over like there's no tomorrow. He just turns it over constantly. Sard, Wiedering, Boyd, Mackay. Where is Cripps? Oh, Cripps is down there. Oof, wow, I didn't even notice he had that bad of a game. Kai kicked the goal. Definitely kicked it behind. I know that, even though it says he actually didn't kick it behind, did he? That's an achievement, because he certainly had one. I guess they called it a rush behind, the one that he actually did kick off his boot, that he just hit the skinny side and it just didn't go. Chincotta kicked the goal early, but then sort of rode off that in the first quarter. See here, 9 points here. If he'd take that goal out of it, he scores 46 again, just another score for him, and it was basically his break even, so he's just going to start probably dropping in price anyway. So if you can get him up, get him out, I would, in the next couple of weeks. He just isn't good enough at the moment. Cottrell, McGovern, Kemp. Kemp had a really good last quarter, but he is not really fantasy relevant. Silvani, always DeConing, and then we come to Cripps. 2 points in the first quarter, had 2 free kicks against, had a tackle taken away, had only like a couple disposals. Then 16, 17, 10. It's just not good enough for him, and this will see him drop dramatically. I mean, he's going to drop into the 600Ks, and he has had a horrific season. I wouldn't be surprised now if we look at Cripps, if he's going to be the number one option next year. Him and Mills, I think, are going to be the number one options next year. This is totally how I thought it would go. Well, actually, I thought Cripps would average about 95, but I didn't think he'd go this bad. 86 after, I knew the Brownlow blip would happen, but I didn't think it'd be this bad. Then you have Akono just tagging Merritt for 97, higher than any Carlton scores, and yeah, that was he tagged him well in the first quarter and the second quarter, to be fair, but then in the second half, when everything went pear-shaped for Carlton, he didn't really tag Merritt that well, and Merritt got away to, I think it was somewhere close to, he was on about 71 or something at 3/4 time, so he ended up having, I think, a 29-point quarter and then a 26-point quarter to end it. So Curnow's just no use. You might as well play Paddy Dow, as Paddy Dow in the last quarter alone had, 1 disposal, 2 disposals, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 disposals, and 3 tackles and a mark. He had 7 disposals, 3 tackles, and a mark in 1 quarter, And if we look at, I'm actually going to bring up the stats because I think Voss probably, even though he will stay, they need to get rid of him because he's just not proving good enough. If we look at the stats here, you'll see, where are they? Tackles. 33 tackles for a game. He laid 1/11th of the tackles. He laid 9% of the tackles in one quarter. If he was out there for the whole game, and I know I'm extrapolating a little bit, so I'll even give the 9 more tackles to Carlton, so 42 tackles. If he was out there for the full game, he would have laid over 1/4 of the tackles. We're talking about he would have laid about 29% of the tackles. 12 divided by 42 times by 100. He would have laid 28% of the tackles if he was out there for the full game, and I even gave Carlton the tackles. So I just don't know why he isn't honestly playing. If we don't give Carlton the tackles, it looks a lot worse. It's around 36% of the tackles. And I don't know exactly. I'll have to actually look it up on my phone and give you the tackle statistics. Because I know in the third quarter it was 4 that they had. I'm just gonna check in the last quarter. It was 3, 4, 5, 6. In the last quarter, he laid half of the team's tackles. In the second half alone, he laid 30% of the team's tackles, and he only played one quarter because they laid 6 in the third and 6 in the fourth, and they laid 2 in the fourth in the last 2 minutes or something. So it's just not good enough. There's no intent at the ball as those numbers suggest, and really I think he's lost the dressing room, to be honest. Martin, Motlop, Dow, as we talked about, and Young. Martin, Zerrett, the only problem with Merritt is a slight suspension concern with a tackle. I honestly looked at it and it's looking iffy. I think it's probably one that could go either way here. It's not one that I'm definitely it's a suspension or not. I'm not just saying that because Merritt is in my side. I think there are some mitigating factors, but I haven't watched it too many times. But I'd err on the side of he's probably going to get 1 week, just because I think it was a tackle where it had motion towards the ground, but he didn't. He had, I think, one arm pinned, and I don't know if the guy landed directly on his head, because that's probably going to be the deciding factor, I think. But I'd watch out for that, to be honest with you. Hind 95, Caldwell 92, Hobbs 91. Hobbs was really good until the last quarter. And yeah, so I thought he was going to be the pick over Keys going into the last quarter being on 84. He needed to go basically and score a 120 and he'd be even with him. So I thought, he might do it, but he ended up not doing it. Redmond, they kept on saying that he's in the All-Australian side, and I'm just thinking he turns it over like there's no tomorrow. If we go back here to this, and then we go over to here, I think he actually had one of his better games, to be honest. As we see here, 4 turnovers, but there's been games where he's had 6, 7, 8 or 9 turnovers, and it probably just isn't good enough. If we look at the advanced stats and we go to disposal efficiency, you'll see here McGrath 95%, Hobbs 87% as a midfielder is great. Where is he? Have I missed him? Yeah, I've definitely missed him. Mason Redmond had 95.7%. So all I know with that is that they do count ineffective disposal, even if it's turned over after 40 meters or something. So a lot of his kicks from kickouts, I'm pretty sure, are turnovers that aren't counted. They're counted as effective disposals. So we get down to where is he? Redmond, Heppel, Ridley, McGrath's turning out to be just a perennial 80s guy. Snelling, Wright had a really good return, to be honest, kicking I think 5 goals or something. Langford started off strong. Durham, Perkins, Stringer, Menzies, Menzies one of those guys that he's going to have an AFL career where he's going to not be fancy relevant, but he's going to have a lot of just off the stat sheet type things, like those little 1%ers that aren't really seen by many that don't watch the game closely. Like there was a couple times where he'd have I think a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, and he'd just spoil the ball, gain like 20-30 meters or something like that, and get it out of bounds and reset, because that's what you want out of a forward, to be honest. Especially, I don't think he's a key forward, to be honest. I think he's more of a small forward or medium forward. So to be able to go up against 2 or 3 guys in a contest and not only break even but properly win it is pretty good. Wiedemann, Phillips, Laverde, Guelphy, Dirk Thatcher, Draper got taken out because they were like, this game is too easy against Carlton, so we'll just rest you. And then D'Ambrosio came on for a little bit for a kick mark, for a +6 basically, and that's it. So that's the video there. And I'll see you guys in the Melbourne vs Collingwood review tomorrow, and we'll see if I have any other videos up on the channel today. Thanks guys, goodbye.